And welcome to In-Depth tonight. Sometimes too much of a good thing can be, well, a bad thing. Binging is something that covers all aspects of life, whether it be food, drinking, chocolates, and right on down the line. Now we have video streaming, and it is having a major effect on how we consume what's on that flat screen, tablet, or on the phone. Well, do you binge when you click on your Fire Stick? Media critic Brian Reisman wrote late last month, "We have reached peak streaming saturation and viewer fatigue is setting in. There is some amazing content being produced for sure, but there is simply too much out there to absorb." Well, joining me tonight is our media and movie analyst Jim Hunter and Dr. Louis Cady, a psychiatrist and founder of the Cady Wellness Institute. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us tonight. Jim, I want to start with you. Just scrolling through the menus, whether it be Netflix, Prime, or Hulu, and there are, what, 7 other services?
There are multiple other services,
okay.
yeah.
That's going to take about 2 hours, it seems. What do I watch at night when I go home if I'm kind of just wanting to find something? And is too much just too much?
Well, yeah, I mean, we are in sort of a golden age, according to some entertainment critics, of streaming content. And it's often the case where people argue about what to watch more than they argue about what they have watched. So it's an interesting time that we're living in, but it's really quite intentional. All of these streaming services want to have as much content on their streaming platforms and try to be everything to everybody, because the more that they are everything to everybody, that means more subscribers, which means more money, which means more watch time, which means greater market share.
Dr. Cady, what do you describe as binge watching? I mean, when we use it, it's a very loose term, but what is it?
There have been a number of definitions. One is anything more than 2 episodes back to back.
Well, good luck with that.
There are some that say 2 to 6, then you're binge watching.
And the benefits of that, you're able to absorb a lot of content, but the drawbacks that you tell us that there are potential serious health concerns.
Yes.
If this goes too far. Tell me about that.
Well, the short-term benefits, I'll take both of those. The short-term benefits are that you get a very nice shot of dopamine in the brain. It's very pleasurable. The downside is those little shots of dopamine can be addicting, and there are health consequences, as you noted. One study in the American Heart Journal noted that if you watch more than 3 hours of TV per day, your risk of major medical problems doubles. That includes diabetes, heart disease, and cancer.
Because you're just sitting around.
You're being sedentary, you're not exercising, and frequently there are other maladaptive health behaviors that occur, like eating chips and dip and cookie and washing it down with
turned into a
pop.
major couch potato.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Jim, these media giants are just cranking this material out, and the cost is phenomenal, and more people are wanting streaming and on-demand material. Where are they getting the money, though, to finance these huge projects? Just the series Stranger Things started out about $1 million an episode, but that has just skyrocketed. How is Netflix, for example, paying for all this?
Netflix is mostly debt financing some of it. Some of the new entries into what we call the streaming wars, and that is the battle for market share between Amazon, Netflix, and Apple Plus, and other streaming services as well. What were some of the new entries into those are very cash rich. For example, Apple just launched Apple Plus, just introduced Apple Plus. It's going to launch a little bit later in the year, and they are incredibly cash rich, and they are dumping a ton of money into this. Netflix itself, most of its revenue comes out of subscriberships, and a lot of it comes out of debt financing. That's how Stranger Things gets produced. It's more about investors and people investing in Netflix's content rather than it is your $10.99 per month going to fund a Stranger Things.
And Dr. Cady, we were talking about the cliffhanger and what have you, and these episodes are all tied, and that can perhaps be addictive. Are there some other issues besides physical issues that Are you going to be a happy person after all of this viewing of television?
Well, all joking aside, I think if you consume a lot of media content and you're just engaged with something that is not reality, it's not a real person, it's not real life, it's not real social interaction, and you do it to excess, it's going to have some repercussions. Social isolation, we mentioned the physical issues before, difficulty with relationships, etc.
Well, I know the days of waiting on the next episode of Seinfeld are far from over, but I understand Seinfeld is now.
Well, Seinfeld is now going to be a streaming show, yeah.
You can pick out your favorite episode.
Right.
Whether it's Kramer having the kidney stone or the soup nozzle, right?
All of those are, classics. But now Seinfeld is a cash cow for some of these streaming services. Go
The
ahead.
interesting thing that you just said, you described a specific episode that had a beginning, a problem, a solution, and an end. I don't think that the Seinfeld episodes had cliffhangers at the end. And now, when you have a cliffhanger at the end of every episode, number one, it makes you more likely to tune in next week.
Right.
And then number two, it makes it incredibly addictive, and it will pull you into binge watching because you want to find out what happened. Then you find out, and then you want to find out what happens again.
And final word here.
And it is deliberately designed that way. Netflix is concentrating on watch time. It's concentrating on keeping viewership because it wants subscribers, but it also wants its price to be inelastic. That is, that people won't unsubscribe once they raise the price. So all of this that you're talking about is by design by the writers and producers of Netflix content.
All right. Well, Jim Hunter and Dr. Lewis Katie, thank you so much
Thank you,
for
Brad.
being here tonight. We won't binge on InDEPTH.